Good morning students. Welcome to session 4 of course Environmental Studies. Today we are going to discuss biodiversity in detail. What is biodiversity? Biodiversity or biological diversity refers to the numbers, variety and variability of living organisms and ecosystems. The term biodiversity includes all the terrestrial, marine and other aquatic organisms. It also covers diversity within species, between species as well as the variation among ecosystems. It is concerned also with their complex ecological interrelationships. Biological diversity deals with the degree of nature's variety in the biosphere. We have three major types of biodiversities such as species diversity, genetic diversity and ecosystem diversity. This variety can be observed at three levels as I mentioned now. The genetic variability within a species, the variety of species within a community and the organization of species in an area into distinctive plant and animal communities constitutes ecosystem diversity. Species diversity refers to the number of plant and animal species present in a community or an ecosystem. It varies a great deal between ecosystems. For example, species diversity is very high in tropical rainforest and coral reefs and low in isolated islands. You will find a large number of different plants and animals in an ecosystem with high diversity. Genetic diversity is the variety in the genetic makeup among individuals within species, whereas ecosystem diversity is the variety of habitats found in an area. It is the variety of forests, deserts, grasslands, aquatic ecosystems, etc. that occur in an area. Let us look into genetic diversity in detail. Each member of any animal or plant species differs widely from other individuals in its genetic makeup because of the large number of combinations possible in the genes that give every individual specific characteristics. For example, each human being is very different from all others. So here, in these following pictures, you can notice the genetic diversity. Even in vegetables, in animals, birds and also in human beings. Genetic variability is essential for a healthy breeding population of a species. Genetic diversity also helps to prevent the extinction of the species. It also helps to create new varieties of more productive crops and to breed better domestic animals. Modern biotechnology manipulates genes for developing better types of medicines and a variety of industrial products. The diversity in wild species forms the gene pool from which our crops and domestic animals have been developed over thousands of years. The number of species of plants and animals that are present in a region constitutes its species diversity. This diversity is seen both in natural ecosystems and in agricultural ecosystems. These following pictures shows the species diversity among plants and animals. Natural undisturbed tropical forests have a much greater species richness than plantations developed by the Forest Department for timber production. At present, conservation scientists have been able to identify and categorize about 1.8 million species on Earth. Many new species are being identified, especially in the flowering plants and insects. Areas that are rich in species diversity are called hotspots of diversity. India is among the world's 15 nations that are exceptionally rich in species diversity. Large variety of different ecosystems on Earth, which have their own complement of distinctive interlinked species based on the differences in the habitat, constitute ecosystem diversity. Distinctive ecosystems include landscapes such as forests, grasslands, deserts, mountains, etc., as well as aquatic ecosystems such as rivers, lakes, and the sea. So, what is the value of biodiversity and ecosystems in general? They have various types of values as mentioned here: consumptive use value, productive use value, social values, ethical and moral values, aesthetic value, and option value. To discuss in general, biodiversity is an integral part of the larger ecosystems of the earth. These ecosystems provide us with services that are of immense value. Life on earth, including that of human beings, would be impossible without these values. We are just beginning to appreciate their importance. Consumptive use value. The biodiversity held in the ecosystem provides forest dwellers with all their daily needs: food, building material, fodder, medicines, and variety of other products. Then, what is the productive use value of biodiversity? The biotechnologist uses biorich areas to prospect and search for potential genetic properties in plants or animals that can be used to develop better varieties of crops that are used in farming and plantation programs, or to develop better livestock. To the pharmacist, biological diversity is the raw material from which new drugs can be identified from plant or animal products. To industrialists, biodiversity is a rich storehouse from which to develop new products. Whereas for the agricultural scientist, the biodiversity in the wild relatives of crop plants is the basis for developing better crops. A variety of industries such as pharmaceuticals are highly dependent on identifying compounds of great economic value from the wide variety of wild species of plants located in undisturbed natural forests. This is called biological prospecting. What are the social values of biodiversity? The biodiversity has been preserved to a great extent by traditional societies that valued it as a resource and appreciated that its depletion would be a great loss to their society. The depletion of biodiversity may result in many societal problems such as local food shortages, unemployment, landlessness, and increased vulnerability to the droughts and floods. Then, what are its ethical and moral values? Why it is necessary? Ethical values related to biodiversity conservation are based on the importance of protecting all forms of life. All forms of life have the right to exist on earth. Man is only a small part of the earth's great family of species. Ecosystem provides services such as provisioning services, ecological services, and cultural, social, aesthetic, and informational services. Economic or provisioning services includes products such as wood, food, water, fuel, and medicines. It also includes genetic resources such as seeds, useful microbes, and genes. The biodiversity provides ecological services such as regulation of climate, water purification, flood control, and control of human diseases. And they also provide supporting services such as biomass production, production of atmospheric oxygen, and soil formation. They provide cultural, social, aesthetic, and informational services. The non-material benefits people obtain from ecosystems includes education, recreation, exploration, and tourism. Biodiversity is a beautiful and wonderful aspect of nature. Sit in a forest and listen to the birds. Watch a spider weave its complex web. Observe a fish feeding, and all these activities are magnificent and fascinating, which gives an aesthetic value. Then, what do you mean by option value of biodiversity? Keeping future possibilities open for their use is called option value. It is impossible to predict which of our species or traditional varieties of crops and domestic animals will be of great use in the future. With this, we'll end up our session 4. We'll meet in the next session.